We must be one. Welcome to the Hughes Roundtable, everybody. Today, get ready. It's a special day for me. You know, got my friend. I don't even really he my brother.
That's right.
We've been knowing each other for years. What we doing now? We going on
man,
at least 37.
Yeah, 38 for certain.
38.
Yeah, 1980 I met you.
Linmore,
Yeah.
Abdur, Siddiq, y'all,
Yes.
from the Chi-Town.
Yes, sir.
You from the Chi?
Yes.
From
Born
the
and
Chi.
raised. Well, really, I was born in Joliet, but that's a whole
Joliet,
nother,
Illinois.
Yeah, it's a whole nother story.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, mom's they were staying on 71st Street
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago, 71st in Michigan on the south side. And my mother, she would always frequent my grandmother's house, and which my grandmother was staying in Joliet, Illinois, which is like a southwest suburb, really a little town.
Right,
outside.
right.
Yeah, almost close to like Delaware is to Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she would visit, and she went into labor and had me, right? So I was had at this little hospital called St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph.
And I used to get a lot of ribbing from all the other kids in the family because everybody else was born in Cook County Hospital, which is in Chicago.
That's Chicago.
Yes.
What
but my
part
mother
of
was
Cook?
like,
What's that? South side?
No, Cook County is like it's over. I would say almost comparable to like where Central is. Central High School used to be. It's like Southwest.
Southwest.
Downtown. It's more west, but a little south of downtown.
Because Chicago ain't got no what? Gary, Indiana is what? That's east.
Southeast.
And Joliet is going west?
It's going west.
Okay, now
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get you now. Then you
Yes,
got
yeah.
the south and the north.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I got a lot of ribbing for being born in Joliet, but come to find out that St. Joseph's was a way better hospital than Cook County. Cook County is where everybody that didn't have any money, that's where you went.
That's what was it? General was St. Joseph's private then?
Yeah, St. Joseph's
Kinda,
was more
sorta?
of a, I wouldn't say it was a Catholic. It could have been Catholic, I think.
Yeah.
It could've been a
Catholic.
Catholic ran hospital, because everything was kind of split up back in it when we were born back
Right.
in those days in the '60s, either Protestant, Presbyterian, that kind of thing, Lutheran, Catholic.
Catholic.
Or Jewish or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
they kind of monopolized all of the services.
Methodist.
Yeah,
That's what Mount
Methodist.
Carmel is, I believe.
Yeah,
Methodist.
yeah, I think my Carmel is Methodist.
Methodist. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
South side it was.
So, and then you grew up on the south side.
Yeah. Primarily, if you ever been to Chicago, you have like Dan Ryan Expressway, right? And so Dan Ryan kind of runs north to south, south to north.
Yeah.
And so it's like dead smack in the center. And so the center of town in Chicago is State and Madison. Right, that's the center of the city, and so State divides east and west, and Madison divides north and south.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the center of town here in Columbus, broad and high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
I remember you
exact-
tried to explain me that one day.
Did I?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
And I was talking about Michigan.
Yeah.
Because Michaela was going to go to Columbia.
Okay.
That's on Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you get closer to downtown, State Street is like maybe 1, 2, maybe about 4 blocks from the lake, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're at Madison and State, you can walk from State and go east and be at the lake in probably about 4 or 5 blocks, because you got to go past Grant Park.
Yeah.
You have to go past Balboa, and then bam, you'll be right at the lake.
Yeah.
But if you come south, Michigan is probably almost, if you come south like back down toward the 70s, Michigan Avenue would probably be almost several miles to the lake.
Yeah.
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 So if you're like on 79th Street, which is a really busy road, strip in the city of Chicago on the south side, it'll take you almost, maybe if you were on a bus, it'll probably take you about 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Chicago.
Yeah, maybe even an hour. That's a long ride. In a car, probably about 20 minutes. But if you were just walking, there's no way you could walk it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are real city blocks.
People love Chicago.
I love it.
I ain't, I
Yeah,
don't know
people are
what it
scared of
is.
Chicago, but I don't know why.
The
Uh, uh,
people love Chicago.
Here's the thing about Chicago, right? This is what they say. Because of the black migration,
Uh-huh.
the great migration that happened during from the 20s until probably about the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
you had a lot of blacks that were migrating from the South.
Right.
And my family was probably in that mix. My grandfather and grandmother and them, I think they came up to Chicagoland. They first left Mississippi. They stayed in this little town called Kosciuszko, Mississippi, which is a really little blip on the map. And the only thing that really makes Kosciuszko so significant is that Oprah Winfrey was also born there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so Oprah
Oh,
Winfrey was
wow.
born in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, which probably has about 5,000 people there. But she only acknowledges it just a blip because the reputation of other people that were there.
Right.
She don't like the
Right.
reputation that was there. But I'm not going to put no evidence out on none of that.
Right.
I don't want her to put
you
a
never
weight
know.
on me. Yes.
You never know, boy.
Yeah. I ain't gonna let her put that weight on me. I'm just a little guy and I don't got no money, right?
You ain't got
To
no money.
back up none of this
It's
evidence, but there's a lot of evidence. But she is from that little town.
It's
So
amazing
It is.
how they left the South and was going the furthest north.
Right.
They ain't care if it was cold.
Right.
We want jobs and we getting up out the
That's
South.
what
Not
happened.
everybody,
Which
but
I
most.
can understand
Me too.
because, like my granddaddy, my mother's father, they didn't pick cotton. They cut trees down.
Oh, okay.
So they cleared the land. They were his father, my great grandfather. They were in the lumber.
Okay.
So they didn't do didn't do the cotton. Boy, you couldn't tell my grandfather, boy, if you ever call him a cotton picker, he might got his pistol out on you.
Okay.
Right, that's how serious it was. Okay, so Milwaukee was probably the first place that my grandparents that went to was Milwaukee.
Okay.
Man, I'm so deep from the South, from Mississippi, it's pathetic because my father's mother is from Mississippi too.
Oh,
so I
okay.
have 3 of my grandparents are from Mississippi.
Wow.
And only my father's father is from Arkansas. I think they was from Little Rock or something. So he went to St. Louis first.
Right.
But my grandparents on my mother's side, they went to Florida and then Milwaukee and then Chicago.
Okay.
And so Oprah Winfrey's family then went to Milwaukee too. So it's a lot of us in Milwaukee.
They ain't go too far.
Yeah, it's a lot of us in Milwaukee. And a lot of us in Chicago. So when you're moving around on that south side and the west side of Chicago, everybody's from Mississippi.
Wow. That's amazing.
And so what happened is it's like when you have Negroes from New York, they may be, see, in New York, that's what was different because you had Jamaican blacks and you had a lot of the West Indians and you had a lot of different folk that were colored back in that great migration period.
Right.
But if you wanted to see the real essence or the strength of descendants from slaves,
right,
you had to really come to Chicago. Chicago is where we really codified our system.
Right.
That's what made it easy for the honorable.
Not Detroit, huh?
Them. Yeah, like Detroit.
Not Detroit though. They didn't.
The
keep
difference
going
in
to
Detroit is that the auto industry controlled them.
Okay.
Yeah. So Chicago, we didn't have that. See, Chicago had a couple industries that were primary that a lot of folks was coming to. We had the biggest railroad system in the whole world. And then we also had the biggest slaughterhouse in the world.
Okay. Slaughtering what?
Yeah.
What was they slaughtering?
Animals.
All kind of animals?
Meat. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what they was coming for. They was coming for that railway and steel. Railway, steel,
really?
and slaughterhouses. That Chicago was like known for that.
Wow.
Back, you know what I'm saying, back in that 20th century, the early part of that 20th century.
Wow.
But
I never knew that one right there.
When things were different.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was born in '68. When we come through, that's when they was doing all of that civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr. had just came to Chicago during that period, right before he got murdered.
Right.
And so they tore up the south side and the west side. No, they tore up the west side. One of the larger street gangs in Chicago, the Blackstone Rangers, they wouldn't allow them to tear up the south side of Chicago back then. So the west side got tore up. Decimated.
Well, somebody had to be already there, though. It's got a big Polish community, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But the Polish folks kind of
They wasn't on the south or the west side.
they were, but they were more further southwest. They was like way over west of where we
Oh, really?
migrated.
Well, that's close to St. Louis, then, ain't it?
Well,
East St. Louis.
no, they weren't that far down. No, they were still in Chicago,
Right.
but they were more over to the west side, the southwest end,
Okay.
like where Midway Airport is at.
Okay.
If you ever been in Chicago and came into Midway Airport, that is the southwest end of the city.
Okay.
And that's primarily where a lot of those immigrant European, Eastern European, and Irish folks. That's where they were at.
Okay.
Because you got Bridgeport is where Mayor Daley and his son, the other Mayor Daley,
Okay.
where they were from. Strong Irish community over there.
Wow.
On our end of the city, you had more Jewish folks that were occupying the areas where I grew up at.
Okay. Okay.
So and Italian. Because we stayed like in the South Shore area and Hyde Park. So
Okay.
Hyde Park had all of the erudite Jewish community because of the University of Chicago. And
Okay.
then if you came over into the South Shore area, which is right there on the lake also, you had more of the Italian immigrants. Matter of fact, Al Capone them had mansions over there back in the 20s.
Is that right?
Yeah, they had mansions like right off of that lake area. So that whole area is the lake.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so when you come up from, like, if you were at Soldier Field
Mm-hmm.
and you were taking Lakeshore Drive
Right.
all the way back south,
Right.
you would hit right smack into the community where I grew up at.
Man.
The first area that you would catch would be the Persian area, which that's where a lot of the projects were built at down there.
Mm-hmm.
And they tore all that stuff down and they gentrified that whole area. So gentrification has taken over that whole area. So they got rid of all the buildings that were down there. They call that the low end.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, that's the low end. It used to be so dangerous down there. I'm telling you, the Cottage Grove bus, you could not, the man used to say on the Cottage Grove bus, ladies, make sure that you got your pocketbooks, all your jewelry pulled up. Make sure that you don't have anything out when we went past the project building because the boys would be at the back of the bus and they would snatch your chain, snatch pocketbooks, run off the bus, and man, they hit them projects, boy, you wouldn't know where they was going.
Man, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
What about Humboldt Park?
Humboldt Park is a lot where the
that
Puerto
west?
Ricans. Yeah, that's west side.
Okay, that's west side.
Yeah, but then you start getting like northwest.
Northwest.
Yeah, it's
northwest.
like the short. I would say that's the short northwest area. My cousin's dad and them, they were like some of the first African Americans in that community before the Hispanics started to like filter into that whole community.
Humboldt Park.
But that's Hispanic community big time. So they got a line where the park is at. So on one side of the park is all Latin kings, and then on the other side of the park is all Latin disciples. So that the park is like the middle ground where all activity would go on back in the days. Is the park, but you can go over there now and catch all kind of festivals. We went to a festival over there, and it was called the Afro-Cuban Pop, and these boys came in, and I'm telling you, it was a beautiful session over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you allowed to go in all these areas now? Back in the day, you couldn't.
Well,
You would.
well, because they keep certain little areas kind of neutral where the money is being spent.
Okay.
Because they have areas where there's business.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to keep those business lines kind of open for everybody to be able to come over into these areas.
Right.
If not, then they would only be getting their own money. So they have to keep certain lines of business areas open. But you can't venture off into those communities without showing some kind of respect.
Right.
Yeah, because when I was a teenager, you had to have your hat broke one way or to the other. So if you was wearing a duckbill hat, like an old baseball hat or something, and then your hat was broke left, that meant that you were Peoples, right, which was a street gang, affiliation to the 5-point star. And then if you had it broke to the right, that meant you was under the 6-point star with the folks. And that's how the city.
The folks came here.
Yeah,
We got the folks.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
you know, I don't know why I'm to you.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. And so that's a lot of that stuff, man. But the street gangs is a whole nother level.
That's a
of
whole.
movement,
That's
man.
totally different world, ain't it?
Yeah, yeah. Really is. It's kind of hard not to be in Chicago and not to be affiliated. You see,
Mm-hmm.
you would have to be a person that never came outside. Seriously, because all of your friends in the community would be affiliated with a particular street gang because of the area that you grew up in.
Right.
And so, say the rival group of guys will come through there, it would be hard for you to say that you ain't a part of this when all your friends, everybody you grew up with from grammar school all the way through to high school, they all affiliated some kind of way.
Wow.
You know, and so just by proximity and osmosis, a person would be, you're connected.
You connected.
Yeah, you connected.
So you
It's
probably
impossible.
gonna have a family member or something.
Yeah,
Some
somebody's
kind of way.
connected. But you may have a stream because if the say the mom moved the area and changed communities, you know, so you may have one, like if you got 4 or 5 brothers, you may have 2 or 3 of them that may be one gang, and the other 2 may be another gang. It's weird. Chicago's weird. But I don't think it's as rough as LA is.
Right.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
they
do
had to
have,
come get me when we
Yeah.
went to L.A. And I had on a some type of Jamaican type thing, but the pants was green, yellow, and red.
Okay.
And I was in Compton.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are you doing? I
What
said,
year
"I'm
was
just
that?"
taking a walk. Michaela wasn't born yet. We went down there for a wedding.
Okay.
And I was just taking a walk because, I used to live in Oakland. So, but I thought, hey, it was like, you can't be walking around here like that. You can't have that on and walk around. I said, get in the car. I was grown. I had to be at least pushing 28 or something like that.
Yeah. You could have been a
somewhere
fatality
around
up there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we went up there in 92.
So you saying California is worse than Chicago?
When I say it's worse, I'm saying that the gangbanging level is a little different. It's just a little different, right? Chicago, all of the chiefs, the old guys that created those organizations, they all know each other.
Man,
they all grew up in the juvenile system together.
Wow.
Those gangs were created in the juvenile system, and some guys, you know what I'm saying, like if you watch the Larry Hoover thing, he used to be people, and then they brought him over to folks because he had a big mob.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
And so those guys, everybody know each other in some kind of way.
Right.
And it's easier to communicate. I don't think LA is like that.
No,
LA got those pockets, man. You know, like if you come down on Grape Street, those Grape Street Crips are different than the Crips that may be on Slauson.
That's crazy.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? It's weird, man.
Ooh,
you know, and the only time they all get together is when they go to prison because of the ethnic thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, you got those Mexicans, they got their gangs and stuff, and they ride by their ethnicity, and then the white guys, they ride by that area and stuff.
Right.
And then all the blacks have to come up under, I think it's up under that Black Guerrilla Family thing.
Right.
Yeah, they all have to ride up under that thing. So it's rough.
Because remember when Chicago, I don't know if you remember this, they merged the school. They merged the school in Chicago. It was, it might have been the high school you went to.
I went to Kenwood, man. My school was so preppy.
But what about what they did merge a school though? They closed one down and sent the people to that school.
I remember because I was watching that. I can't think of that lady's name. She's a principal, and she did
probably watched the same thing.
Yeah, we probably watched that same show.
Yeah,
I think it was Finger.
I
think.
Yeah.
I think. This is my memory now. And audience, if y'all hearing it and y'all know that we wrong, y'all can always get some information on it.
Nothing about
so this is a caveat that I'm
saying.
that I forgot.
I think you're right, though.
But I think it was Finger.
They closed down
one of the schools and sent the kids to the opposition gang school.
Yeah.
And they had to come across the territory. See, we didn't have all of that trouble when we was in high school, Mike. We ain't had none of that trouble, man. The school that I went to is Kenwood Academy, and it sat in Hyde Park. And so there were 3 high schools that was on that lake. Kenwood was first. It was on 51st and Blackstone. And then the second school after that was Hyde Park, which was on 62nd and Stony Island. And then you had South Shore. They did a little bit of gangbanging in those communities, but not as heavy as the other areas. Okay?
Yeah.
And so we were probably more, at the school I went to, we was probably more preppy. There was one little group over there. They call these guys Moroccans, you know. And so this little group of guys, the Moroccans, they patrolled our neighborhood. But we knew all of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? We knew all of them. And so we didn't have much pressure for them. I mean, they may catch you and go in your pockets a little bit and all that stuff. If they thought you were a chump, yeah, they would try to go in your pocket. But Chicago, they bully you all over when we was little. Yeah, it's just what they did.
Yeah, and you know we're gonna have to have 2 episodes.
Yeah, we're coming back.
That's just basic.
Yeah, we just warming up. We're coming back.
We like to cut it at 30.
Okay, we at 30 already?
Yeah, no, sir.
Oh, okay.
It's too much information up there. You got too much.
Yeah.
We ain't even hit Limmore when we met at 13. We was about 13.
Yeah, I was
14.
12 when I come there. Get ready to turn 13. I think I was 12.
We ain't hit that.
I had just came to Columbus, man. When I had only been in Columbus 1 year, right?
And you ran into Mike
culture
Hughes.
shock. You talking about a culture shock, man?
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell. We thinking now.
Yeah.
But I remember.
Yeah. We moved on Hildreth first, right? Hildreth in winter when we came to Columbus.
That's east side, right?
Yeah, we was right. As soon as you come up the alley to the pool, right, to Merlin Pool. I'm telling you, Mike, man, I thought we was on a farm. I was like, good Lord. And that's the hood.
That was the hood.
Wasn't nobody out. It wasn't even no little girls in the neighborhood. It was only 2 girls on our block.
But I grew up in that area, though.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah,
I grew up. There is a street called Hughes over there.
There is a street called Hughes over there.
And, my grandmother stayed on I can't remember, but my grandfather and my dad lived on Buckingham.
On Buckingham.
And my dad lived on Hawthorne.
On Hawthorne.
And Pondexter Village.
Yeah.
All up in there.
Yeah.
So
we didn't go over to Pondexter. Where all our friends were at was towards Monroe.
My grandmother might have moved on. Winter is awful long, right?
Winter runs the Long. It only goes as far as probably right across Long Street. I think it kind of dead in. It don't even go to Broad Street. It deads in into that little one street that run into East High School, I think.
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it dead ends into that little street there. Winter runs. It come from the pool from Atchison.
Right.
It come across Mount Vernon.
Right.
And matter of fact, it don't even run. It runs into Poindexter.
Okay.
I think it dead ends at Poindexter.
It's going what?
Yeah.
East and west?
It runs north and south. It's a little bitty
I know
street,
I lived
man.
on Winter.
It's just an alley.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, man. We was like, man, why would they name this alley Winter?
Yeah.
So it's like, how you put a name on an alley?
Them was some times, man.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, man, that was really the full culture shock, man, when I got to Limmore, you know, we stayed on Beulah, right?
Beulah, yep.
And it was only 2 black families up there.
So y'all moved from Winter.
Yes.
Trying to move on up. Looked like y'all was trying to move on up.
Yeah, all black.
Because y'all came from here over there
but
by
my
Livingston.
We left a half a double. And no, not Beulah, right off North Broadway.
Oh, you up north.
They bust us down to Limmore from up north.
Y'all moved from
Further
Winter
north.
to Beulah.
Beulah.
Oh,
Right
Beulah.
on Moon Street,
Yeah,
Beulah,
yeah.
North Broadway,
but y'all
Oakland Park.
But
We were on.
How long was y'all on Winter?
1 year.
Oh, y'all just skipped clean. Y'all skipped all
Man,
the process.
my family does this. We've been doing this my whole life.
But y'all didn't even move to the number streets. Y'all just come on from the east to the north.
Listen, we moved
moved
every
up.
year.
Because back then, Weber was nice.
When we got up there, man,
But y'all have a brick house?
No,
Stone?
we was in a building, man. We was in an apartment building. My grandmother got a basement apartment.
Oh.
We would be outside, man. They would be like, go back to Africa. You monkeys, you coons.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
they
yeah,
harassed the mess out of us up there, man.
Yeah.
Me and a little guy, and I'm going to say his name, God rest his soul. He's dead now. Christopher George, man, little white guy, man. I love this guy, but he was bad. Chris George had me getting in so much trouble up there, man. It was pathetic. We used to go to the little Lawsons, and Chris George would have me blocking for him while he was
you
still
going back.
Yeah, he would right there on Oakland Park and
Oakland Park and
what's that street? Maze, right on the corner.
Oh, so y'all was doing a little walking.
Yeah,
then.
we was walking from way back
Yeah,
on
yeah,
5.
yeah,
we
yeah.
walked. You know, we young. And so we would go up there and play these defender games. And so I would be blocking for the little kid, right? While he's stealing. Cause he was in 6th grade a little more, but we was in 7th. And so I'd be blocking. And so one day I was in there distracting the guy. He was a young white guy, probably about 17, 18, maybe even about 19. And he saw us. So me and Chris George run out of the store fast as we could, trying to get back to our end. And the boy, he left the store wide open, ran us down, caught us, grabbed us, and man, he slapped the dog dookie out of me, man. I didn't know what to do with that, man. I was like, Chris George
That
is
remind you of
stealing.
Chicago.
Yeah, I was like, Chris George is stealing, man. Why would you slap me?
Who slapped you?
The white guy, man. It was
That you was with?
no,
The
boy,
owner of the store.
no, not even the owner. Some little boy was working in the summer, chasing me
Well, I'm
down.
sorry, though. Hold on.
Man, hey, man,
But
this
wait a minute.
was the worst experience. I had never experienced racism like that. In Chicago, it's all black. You don't have to experience that mess. We was protected from that stuff. You know what I mean?
That had to be
That was 1980.
1980.
Man, I go up there right
now.
now.
Livermore, though, but hold up.
That's when I was at Livermore.
Because they bust you to Livermore, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, because you wouldn't have went to Linden then. You'd have went to Brookhaven.
I would have went to Brookhaven. That's where my Uncle Keith was going to Brookhaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrestled up there at Brookhaven. Yeah, they was busting us back down there, man. I'm telling you, it was a Bahamian family.
Because you would have went to Brookhaven with Kelly and all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we would all went up there.
Yeah, y'all would have went to Brookhaven, and I would have went to Linden.
You would have went to Linden.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Man, you know, I cried, man, when they took me out of Livermore, man. I loved it.
Yeah,
that
we
was
had
the
a
best I ever was,
13.
man. I was at the top of my game.
Was you at the top of your game?
Man, soon as you come in the building, man, there I am.
You
on
did
a
run it.
roll. I had my trophy up there, beat that boy Peso at the dance. Man, I was at my game.
Yeah. It's amazing. You can still remember all that.
Yeah, and then we moved. I went to Chicago that summer.
Darren Woods.
Huh?
Darren Woods.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna even, but Deanna Mac. I'm gonna
Yeah. I saw her.
But you ended up with Julie.
Yeah, I did.
Was Julie? Why you saying it like that?
I did.
Julie still alive? Ain't she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's out in what's that? Powell.
Okay, so it wasn't all that bad.
Yeah, she's out.
Oh,
Powell.
you was in Livermore for about a
1
year and a
year.
half? 1 year, really?
I did 1 year, man. I only did 1 year. Man, I went to 3 different schools, man.
That's
Them 3 years I
crazy,
was
though.
here.
But we hooked up that whole year, man.
We hooked up afterwards because remember Uncle Keith used to come get you, man.
We kept hooking up.
Yeah, I used to come over there. Remember Keith had the ambassador, that blue ambassador.
Yeah.
We used to come pick you up, and we ride down the Hatties on Mount Vernon and get some beers.
We can make a movie.
Yeah, we used to ride the Hatties and yeah.
We can make a movie. Okay, you got 90, 2000, 10. Yeah, we can make a movie from the progressions. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, cause when we went, cause see what happened was that summer I was with Chris George. I was getting in so much trouble with that boy. My grandfather moved back in the house, and so and I've learned this from experience. Don't ever go back in a relationship that's over from them, my grandparents. That's what happened. My grandfather came up from Milwaukee and moved back in with us in that apartment. And man, it was hell.
Really?
Boy, they started bringing up stuff, man, from the 40s.
Oh, my
30s,
God.
man. I was like, man, what the heck?
This is 50 years later.
Man, I would be hearing, boy,
Ooh-wee.
you slept with my cousin and all this mess from way back.
How many kids they had?
They had 9. It was 9 of them, man. So they had a lot of history, man.
Oh, man, well, look at here. Let's pause on that. We coming right back to that. Y'all, we coming back, and we going to finish this story right here. Y'all take care. We going to end it, and we going to come back with
Y'all have a good one.
Abdur Siddiq from the Chi-Town by way of Columbus, Ohio.
No doubt.
Take care. Everybody, we must be one. Everybody.